this is a good sounding modern Gibson here called the L-00 original. It's actually my first ever acoustic guitar. It's got a lot of touches from the old 30s Gibsons, but it's also got a couple modern things incorporated into its design, like this LR Baggs pickup, which wasn't a selling point for me. And then it's got these Grover tuners here, which are very nice. They do their job very well. And I had this idea to basically do a little sound comparison compared to what I did last night, or the last video rather, where I was playing like this. And that was the last two videos I did, the lessons. And I thought we would do a review on this because I actually did start out on the L-00 Studio. I had it for about a week. And I didn't like the neck profile, which was the advanced response neck. It's possible it had a very poor setup on it. But the string tension didn't feel right, and the tone was awful of the walnut. Maybe I'm just blaming the walnut. I always say that, the tone of the walnut. Maybe I'm discounting walnut as a tone would, but that's just my own experience with it. Because as soon as I got the mahogany back and sides version, I heard the warmness. I heard the punchiness of the strings. There's a punchiness to this guitar here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in drop D tuning. I meant to actually go over this as a sound comparison. So you can hear the difference from what I played the other day. So basically it's a very bluesy guitar. I don't think it lacks volume. And it's fairly articulate. So this is actually a guitar that I've pondered selling at one time or another. And I was going to almost trade this in for the Martin, and the thing was I got a nice deal on this too. And the thing was I found the right strings for it. You need to find, I think, the right strings for every instrument that you own. And for this, it's these elixir coated strings. They even the yellowish color of them suits the yellow binding. I remember seeing that, or thinking that, how the yellowish tint of these strings, which don't look like your phosphor bronze type string, how it just looked perfect with the yellow binding, because this is different than the guitars that are made to look antiqued, such as there's a higher level of Gibsons than this that are thermally aged. The Gibson Custom Shop Historic series, which came out maybe around 2020 or something. And these guitars, they probably cost about twice as much as this, maybe a little less. But they have a thermally aged artificially aged top called torrefication process. And this doesn't have that. And a lot of those have a red spruce top because they're trying to be historically accurate. This has a Sitka spruce top. This isn't designed to be historically accurate, and even those historically accurate ones are not historically accurate with the real details. But this is great in its own right. It's got the small, this is a small rectangle bridge. It's got a very nice looking rosewood board here. It's got the slim taper neck, which you're taking a gamble, I think, on those real expensive Gibsons, on the big V-neck or whatever they got. And I don't mind a big neck. But bear in mind that advance response was horrible. So, it is punchy though, very punchy. It's not lacking for anything. It responds to, you know, how you play too, and you've heard me play it in many videos in fingerstyle. You've heard me play. In other words, it's got a lot of different genres that it can apply to. And even these modern, even these Gibson, the modern what do they call it? Custom shop historic. So this is not the custom shop, so to speak. But even those custom shop historics, right? Those, even those are showing up with factory cosmetic flaws. And I did a little research on Reverb, and one guy made an offer and brought it all the way down, and I'm not interested in one. I was simply reaching out to him about research. I was asking, why would this fretboard have indentations on the fretboard on one of these historics? And he said, and he wrote one word, manufacturing, and I wrote, yeah, but why, if it's a top model, if it's the top model, why should it have any flaws? It should be flawless. He said, I agree, but it's hardly noticeable, so I'm offering. It got past our inspection, and so I'll offer at a huge discount. Then he made an offer, and I wasn't even I'm not in the market to buy anything. If I get one of these historics, it'll be by trade. Oh man, I'm not going to get rid of this Gibson. This model here, the L-00 is one of Gibson's biggest models. It's one of their most iconic. And I like it. I like the neck. I'm just going to have to get the bridge re-glued because it started lifting. The bridge is lifting. It's really hard to... It's really minuscule, the amount that it's lifting. I've seen bridges really lifted, but it is lifting. 3 years old, mind you. A couple of bad notes. I actually just rolled out of bed because I decided I want to put something out tonight. I wasn't feeling that great the other night because I was smacking the guitar when I was doing the horse with no name. I'm not saying it has anything to do with anything, but the next day my pinky was moving all by itself. It was twitching back and forth over and over. And now tonight my right arm is moving by itself. Like the muscle here by my biceps, like twitching by itself since I got out of bed. So I either need some rest, or I'm overexerting myself, or I got something ain't right with me. Or all three. But the review, so as I said, it does have this Sitka top. It's got this nice tortoise style guard here, which is not really indicative of the 30s. I think in the 30s they either had the white, but as I said, see, Gibson, I guess they have their interpretation of what's going to sound best now. So, and they're doing this with the Custom Shop Historics. That's why it's not an exact replica. I think if you wanted an exact replica, your closest thing would be to get like a J45 vintage model or something. Because there's a lot of short-lived series within Gibson, I would say. But what's happening now, no, it's not an exact replica. And even Martin's doing the reimagined things. You know. Let's play these open strings. Let's drop D. Let's drop D. So as I said, I really get on with this neck profile. I think Gibson's slim taper neck is great. And it's interesting, as I've stated before, they'll put that advanced response on the studio model. That's all marketing. Here's another cosmetic flaw this thing came with. See, as I told you, there's a problem with the bridge lifting. Look at that to the side of the bridge. Missing the paint, missing the lacquer. It's just straight through to the wood. Just fell right off. And I don't really mind this. I think I think to a degree you have to accept this with Gibson, but there's another mark there. But here's the thing. I think there's too many people that have this like buyer's bias, and they'll just accept anything and just say, wow, this. They'll look past some really glaring things and just say, well, I bought this and my finger aches after 5 minutes, but it's fine, because you can't. I think there's a lot of buyer's bias going on. You'll see I've had this for quite a long time. I got videos going back me playing this. And when I did the last one on the drop D, oh, I lost my voice. When I did the last video on the drop D, I almost wish I played this, because to me it's the best contender for that kind of blues. Just listen to it. Just the fatness of it, the punchiness of it. It's not lacking anything. How about, listen to this, ready? I told you, without the right strings, it's not as good as this. The phosphor bronze on this were good, but they sound good and way better than the studio walnut. If I put elixirs on the studio walnut, it would not have saved it. But elixirs just take this to the next level. I don't know how evident it's going to be when the bridge gets re-glued. I don't know how soon I'm going to have that done. Right now it stays in tune, it plays great. All my guitars could use a trip to my local tech, who's a great guy. He's just, he does fantastic work. It's just, maybe he's getting a little too big for his britches, and also it's a pain to get over there. I don't enjoy to do it. It's stressful. And I don't know that he's the type of guy that proactively will point things out. I think it's up to you to assess everything. I mean, the neck angle on this is perfect. The setup on it's great. I've actually had it set up, which is what you should do, especially if you're having trouble with bar chords or anything. Get your guitar set up. It's going to sound better. It's going to play better, and even if it's not cheap. Oh, I wanted to say this, by the way. There's only a few differences between this and the L-00 standard. See, this is the original series. There's another L-00 series similar to this called L-00 standard. Does not have a script logo, cursive in other words. Does not have these tuners, which I definitely prefer these tuners. It doesn't have this antique look. But I think that's the only real difference, is the script logo and the tuners between the standard and the finish, of course. You wouldn't get a standard with this Ebony because it doesn't look vintage. So I wanted to mention that there's a distinction between the standard and the original series. And with the original, you can get a sunburst, but it's a deeper, darker sunburst, and maybe a more traditional looking type of sunburst, kind of like they're doing at the custom shop with these but you might say the torrefied tops, they've been called like orange peels and things like that. People say it looks like an orange peel. I don't know. The thing is, I kind of want to own one. I don't know why my arm is twitching out, guys. The only thing I can think of is Michael J. Fox, and that's what's got me nervous. Very well balanced. Listen to how balanced each string is. Also, it's very balanced in your lap. This is probably the most balanced guitar I own in my lap. The SG is not balanced like this. The 018 is definitely not. Let's see what else. The two small body guitars that are the same model, they're fairly well balanced, but they're awfully small. Because they're ladder braced, and why would you put an X bracing on a top that small? Probably is what they were thinking. So that they have their own thing going on with the 3/4 side. But I'm talking about, you go in, you're getting kind of a standard series model, right? I would say that this here, where was I going with that? Oh, is one of the most balanced I own. The J50 with the incredible tone, it slightly wants to go upwards. The 018 wants to go downwards. Trying to picture what else I own. The Martin. The Martin Jumbo is fairly well balanced, but the neck feels a little too thin on that one. This neck profile is just right. Honestly, it just fits your hand, and fits your hand, but is not cumbersome. Hear that rattling? I can't play it backwards for you, but it's just It's not trying to be over the top like that modified low oval neck from, what's this mark on the headstock? I'm seeing another cosmetic flaw. Yep, this guitar's got another cosmetic thing. I've never even seen this. Yep, it's got another. Wow. I don't even. Or is that the lighting? No, that's not the lighting. It's got 4 lines on the side of the headstock. Wow. Character, huh, Gibson? Wow. What was I saying about the playability in the neck? Yeah, it's one of the best necks I own. And the neck itself feels lightweight. It doesn't feel like... It's odd feeling the guitar. It's not lightweight. It's not featherweight. It has a lot of weight to it. It's not... I would not call this lightweight. I don't know what they weigh. Well over 3 pounds. But there's nothing light. I've got guitars that are featherweight, like the LG 2 3/4, and you pick it up and it wants to fly away. This is not lightweight. That being said, the neck, something about this neck, it almost feels like it's hollow. So the whole thing feels balanced in your lap when you're holding it. It's just, you can sit here. Basically it is the perfect balance, like Gibson says. How did I come about getting this one? Because we're about halfway, at least more than halfway, through what I have for storage space. Well, I started out on a Gibson SG standard electric 2017 model. I started playing in July 2017. That's when I bought my first 6-string instrument. And when I liked it a lot. I still have my first SG, my first guitar, and I'm not gonna get rid of that either. I played around with that. I had a Fender Champ 20 that I got at the same time, and as I was playing, it was going fine. I had it set up multiple times, but I was getting this popping sound out of the amp, and I was a raw beginner. And I was at Guitar Center anyway one day, and I brought it. And they checked the amp, nothing happened. I brought the guitar to my tech when I was having a setup done. I asked him about it. He plugged it into his amp, nothing happened. I brought it home, pop, 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 kept happening. And I just started getting annoyed. And so I said, maybe I should just get my first acoustic guitar. And that's what I went about. And I was a fan of Gibson. That's why I started on a Gibson. And Gibson is known for their acoustics and their electrics, right? So for some reason the L-00, maybe because it fit into that blues kind of niche, it just seemed like the very logical choice, and I wanted something new. I didn't want used at that time. And buying your first acoustic sight unseen online is a risk. It's a pretty big risk, and I got it from the Manchester Music Mill, which is a pretty popular place. And I don't live near there. However, I had to go back to do an exchange. That's how much I hated that Studio Walnut. And so when I ordered the Studio Walnut, it came in, and I hated the finish of it. I hated the coloration of it. Ironically, it probably didn't have the flaws this one has cosmetically and even structurally with the bridge. But But I hated everything about it. I hated the neck. I couldn't play any of my songs because it provided nothing but resistance. This is a full gloss neck, however, though, so it does provide resistance in the form of the paint or the texture of it rubs against your hand, but it's not bad. It's the neck profile is what it's all about with this, with me. I couldn't care less about if a guitar feels like wood or feels porous or whatever. I can get around that. It's the neck profile. You don't want to convince yourself you like a neck profile that is a hindrance. I was going to make this video another time, but I'll be able to make one more tomorrow. We'll just see. Hopefully these weird symptoms go away, because I was doing some strange things at work that I don't normally do, some prep work, and maybe that using this machine I don't normally use, maybe that tired out my arm or something. I really don't know. Very nice, classy looking guitar. I just wish I didn't have to get the bridge re-glued. It would have been cool if they made a custom shop historic of this without the LR bags pickup, with better quality control and like an authentic 30s V-neck, like a nice V-neck from the 30s with a white pickguard or a fire strike. Even though I really like this pickguard, it's probably a superior looking pickguard. It's probably superior looking L-00 as a modern Gibson compared to the vintage ones. These black guitars, when they age, they really age with quality. The only thing I'd trade out would be these bridge pins, which look kind of cheap, but no, it's got the bone nut, the bone saddle. It's got no binding on it. It's just kind of not an ornate guitar, but I kind of like these subtle. I do kind of like these subtle guitars in a way. It's a subtle elegance about them. Really pick this all day. I'm just trying to think, like, do I really want to accept these cosmetic flaws? Is it okay? It's really not. It's really not okay to pay what I don't care if it's top model or next in line or studio or whatever. This, you don't buy new and get this. And a bridge that's not all the way down. What is that about? This thing has been kept, it's never left the house. It's ridiculous. And something's rattling around in there. Inside it says style L-00. Is anything else? Is hereby guaranteed against faulty workmanship and materials. Oh, I was going to tell this funny story. I got 10 more minutes, maybe. I was thinking about telling this story on YouTube. Maybe I shouldn't. There's a story that shows that maybe God works in mysterious ways, or intelligence, or whomever you believe in. Yeah, it's so balanced though. The story is, I'm looking like a model. I'm looking like Tom Hanks. The story is I went and got a haircut, but it's what happened there. And you know, sometimes I like to give these little insights. Some real life stuff once in a while makes this channel a little different than what you're typically used to. Well, I went after work. I walked to work, and I've got my license. I drove for many years, but nowadays I walk everywhere. I'm blessed to be able to do that. And after I got out of work early one day, I said, my hair was getting too long. And I said, I'm going to walk up to get a haircut at this place. Basically, you have to cut through this crazy wooded section and cut through these projects and then pop out, walk through a school section and then cross the street, and then you're basically there. It's quite the trip. Plus combined with the fact that I walked to work. So I went there, right? And my fear was what happened. When I got in there was a girl, and let's just say another person who you couldn't really tell what they were, and they didn't want you to be able to. And they were very overweight, just a very spooky looking person. And they were wearing women's clothes, yet there was prominent facial hair. And this is not the type of individual I wanted to have cutting my hair. I gotta live with this haircut for a long time. I only go like once a year. And I don't care what you do in your spare time, but I don't want someone who, first of all, has no sense of style or anything. It makes me uncomfortable dictating my style for the next year. And I said, please don't have this person cut my hair. And they were saying, I'll be right there, I'll be right with you, and whatnot. And then, anyway, the other girl that was, the other person that was actually, it's gonna get kicked off me. The other hairdresser in there was more what I'm accustomed to. She said, you're actually, to this person, you're actually needed in another place. Right now, you gotta go, they need you. They're very busy and they're all by themselves. And I'm sitting there like, oh, thank someone's looking out for me. This person's gonna leave. And this other person can cut my hair. And they said, you gotta go. And are you sure? And like, all right. And then they picked up their stuff and I'll call you later, and they were gone. And and then the other person that I was cool with was there and by themselves and gave me this look, which, like I said, looked like a model. So I even fixed this beard last night myself. I was looking rough, and I work in the restaurant business, and I can't be looking like a meatnik. But look, I don't have any problems or whatever with house, but it's just I've been a little uncomfortable lately. I gotta say, and I don't care. This just the kind of the things we're accepting is a little. Where do we draw the line now? We're not going to draw the line. We're going to we just accept anything now. It's just, we don't even bat an eye to anything. And half these people are grossly overweight. Bad attitudes. funny how they called. I was like, please don't let this person cut my hair, and someone called at the last minute, you gotta go, you're needed here. Because basically, in other words, I would have had to say, I'd rather not have you, or I'm used to this, can I have the other person? It would have been up. I didn't know how I was going to approach it. I was just sitting there looking out the window. And I was going to wait and see what I was going to say. I think I was going to say I'm more used to X, Y, and Z, but in other words, I didn't have to have that confrontation at all. Just, even though it was a small thing, it was just a haircut, but it's funny the way things, it's just funny, I guess, sometimes. I didn't know when I was going to share that. And also, I've gone to several tag sales recently and got some cool stuff. One was, oh, check this out. The most recent I went to, basically I got this, from the previous tag sale, they had DVDs, and my PlayStation doesn't work for DVDs for some reason, and for these ones I got. I thought it would. And so I got these, and so this recent one, the woman went down and got me a DVD player. Then I put it in a bag with a couple other small items. And then as I was leaving, I saw this mahogany table, like an antique. And I said, I've got a similar mahogany table like that. And anyway, I wound up coming back the next day. She said, you can come back tomorrow if you want. And I'll have it underneath the hanger. Put $5 here. We'll be off at church. Put $5 here. Put the cup over it. And you can take it. And I wasn't sure if I was going to. There was like a light rain too. Oh, here's the best part. So I did. I left the $5. I took it. No one was there. I start carrying this thing home, and as I'm about to cross the crosswalk, there was an old woman. She was about maybe about 70 or 80. She saw this table, mahogany table. It was from her era. She was staring at this table. I turned, I smiled, I looked at the light, like a minute went by. When I see the light turn green, I looked back at her one more time. She was still staring at this table, looking at it, and marveling over it. Just, where did he get that? What is it? I've never seen anyone stare. And that's how I knew I had something cool. That's how I knew I made the right decision, by going back and getting that. Isn't that funny? So I thought I would share, I'm doing some interesting stuff, I gotta say. Enjoy, guys. I can't remember how that goes now. I'm way past my bedtime. Oh, it's a quick slide. Not perfect. I'd say the smaller, the even smaller LG 2 3/4 is even more articulate on these playing something like this, in terms of the thinner strings, the skinny strings, if you will. but you can't beat this. You can't beat that perfect balance of this. The powerful, punchy sound, warm sounding guitar. Incredible modern Gibson, one of their most iconic models. And it's really packed with value. Oh, it's got the kind of simple rosette. Yeah, guys. Great guitar, man. Great, good guitar. Still smells new. This is 3 years old. Still smells new. And made some cool videos with it. It's always a good choice. That's why the other day I was thinking, man, I should have made this video on this. I guess it's a blessing being able to choose. It's a little fun there at the end. That's why I remember I used to make the shorts, try to get something perfect. There's a couple of things there I would have said, nope, not perfect, not perfect. But nowadays I focus on the real shorts and the lessons, and I enjoy that. You know? And the gear reviews, I'm really deep into gear, as you can tell. Can't play, but just, you couldn't call it more punchy. Now compared to the J50, this is going to sound the same now. It'd be hard to choose between this and the Martin 018. Both have a different feel, you know. Maybe there is a Gibson tone. That's distinctly Gibson, who knows. I'm surprised it's still going. The phone's still going. I was going to go 45 until it turns off on its own, which it will any second now. Anything else I can think of? If you're going to get one of these, get Elixir strings, like I told you. Or try it. Try it with the phosphor bronze Diodarios and see the thicker strings on the 018 can sound just a little rubber bandy at times. So I'd be curious to try the 018 with Elixir strings and see what it does to it, and then do a brand new comparison with this with a fresh pair of Elixir strings. But should every guitar need coated strings? No, I don't think so. I mean, that's the string thing gets a little too complicated, but hey, I found the ones that suit this, and I don't plan on putting any other kind on this because I don't have any dissatisfaction with the sound on this. I listened back to the video of the Martin of me playing this same piece of music, and I wasn't thrilled with the sound. It was good, but I think I need to maybe find the strings for that one too. I don't know. Or maybe that guitar has a different kind of application. This has a lot of different applications. I've never seen a video go on so long. I better end it because it's not going to upload right. See you guys later, man.